I'm going to teach you a word, and theater kids, shut up! I know you already know it. This word is leitmotif. A leitmotif is a fancy word meaning musical types used to describe a melody that's representative of something concrete within a narrative. This can be a character or an idea, but either way, it's a tool for personifying that subject and bringing their feelings to light. Even if you haven't heard this word before, you most certainly understand the application of a leitmotif, as they're all over the place in any medium with sound. You and Higurashi, nearly half the frickin' tunes in Les Miserables. Look, as a quick example, this is Roxas' character song in Kingdom Hearts 358 over 2 days. But when he returns to the plot in Kingdom Hearts 3, it's to the sound of this. Notice how while the top melody is more or less the same, the harmonization is different. This is the power of a leitmotif and why they're such a powerful storytelling tool. The music becomes a part of the story and changes just as the characters do. Roxas is normally a sad boy, so his song is this slow and sad piece, highlighting the tragedy of his very existence. But in Kingdom Hearts 3, his character has completed his arc. He's not just someone's shadow, but a full-fledged person and a hero. And that same motif is now triumphant and powerful, mirroring his journey. You take a character and apply a piece of music to them and allow that music to reflect the changes that character undergoes throughout the story. In addition to just being a based way of conveying a narrative, this is also the backbone for all of musical theater. So checkmate atheists, go listen to musicals, you'll probably like some. Anyway, the point I'm trying to make here is that a leitmotif also happens to be the backbone behind some of the best storytelling in Vocaloid, surprise surprise. Not all songs need to use this one neat trick, as it only really matters if you're telling a story across multiple compositions, but it's no surprise that some of the most powerful moments in Vocaloid come from some really artful uses of leitmotifs. So let's walk through a few of them and see how music evolves with character to create something more. Mothi is a good guy. Even if I think the Avelius Chronicles as a whole is kinda dumb, this guy's really skilled at telling small stories and conveying emotion through the use of music. I think it's probably a surprise to no one here when I say that the Lucifenia arc is my favorite part of the story, but within that, the relationship between Clarith and Michaela is without a doubt the part of the story that resonates with me most. Sorry, Alan. To quickly summarize for the uninitiated, Michaela is a poor girl with green hair and Clarith is an albino who becomes her friend. Because of her abnormal appearance, Clarith is outcasted and all throughout her life has been treated awfully by most people. But Michaela is a pure-hearted individual who accepts her even so, and the two slowly fall in love. Over time, they become entangled in a bunch of political mumbo-jumbo that leaves Michaela murdered and Clarith alone. There's a lot more to the story, but this is the necessary background information. Now, Mothi wrote songs for both of these girls that tell their side of the story during the fall of Lucifenia, called Daughter of White for Clarith and Wooden Girl 1000-Year Weigenlied for Michaela. Here's the chorus of Clarith's song. Clarith is a sad girl, and so she has a simple sad tune be the backbone of her song. Notably, Daughter of White carries Clarith through a big portion of her life and into a state of self-satisfaction by the end. That tune I just played is only used to reflect her negativity during the worst parts of her life, though, and is replaced by a different melody when she reaches acceptance at the end of the piece. It's a nice little composition, but more importantly becomes a leitmotif that's later used in her girlfriend's song. 1000-Year Weigenlied is told from Michaela's perspective and focuses on her love for Clarith. At the very end of the song, Mothi does something special to illustrate their love by blending in Clarith's leitmotif. This is from the end of the song. Take a listen. The leitmotif from Daughter of White is reharmonized in 1000-Year Weigenlied, and the two girls sing it together. There's two things at play here that make this moment so beautiful. First is that this melody is representative of Clarith. Michaela picking up her melody and singing it with her is a very straightforward way of showing how important Clarith is to her. The two literally harmonize together. But the more striking thing is that reharmonization of the chords behind the melody itself. Remember that this line doesn't just represent Clarith, it represents her fear and sadness. Michaela takes that line and transforms it, singing instead about how she's going to protect her from that awful world, and how she wants to be with her forever. Michaela is stealing away her pain and literally turning it into love. See, leitmotifs are all about that transformation. Take the Lily of the Night trilogy by Cosimo Toda. At the end of all of these songs, there's a little melody that serves as a love theme between the speakers, represented by Fukuse, and a girl named Lily, represented by Iya. The quick story here is that Fukuse is ill and dying, and his only chance of survival lies in a risky medical procedure that he ultimately decides to take with the love and assurance of Lily, his lover. You first hear this love leitmotif at the end of the first song, Lily of the Endless Night. As Fukuse's consciousness fades out, the only thing on his mind is this melody, which later gets contextualized to be about the love between him and Lily. His love for her is the most important thing to him. At the end of the second song, Until Your Night Dawns, we get this exchange with the same melody. It's a very light and fragile line that conveys the love between them. In fact, this is the moment that the two confess to begin with. The final song, Good Morning My Diva, takes place after Fukuse has had the operation done and lost his memory. But even so, we still return to that same melody. It's all very sweet and a nice representation of love. Even after losing everything, the two still have each other, and their love persists. But where this really gets good is when you go and listen to the special version of the song that Kasuma Toda posted on her second channel. This song's mostly a dual mix of Lily of the Endless Night and Until Your Night Dawns, but the end is wholly original to this piece. Instead of the normal back and forth between Fukuse and Lily from Until Your Night Dawns, or the quiet memory from Lily of the Endless Night, the leitmotif shifts to show how painful a world without each other is for the couple. Fukuse reaches out to do the normal call and response, but Lily doesn't answer. When Lily comes in to reassure Fukuse that she's with him, he can't hear her. The expected profession of love is broken up, and the melody that's supposed to be joyous and reassuring is instead horribly sad. The two are trying to connect, but that disconnect disrupts their love. The best part of leitmotifs is that they can become an effective profession of the narrative all on their own. I don't even need to know the words to Endless Wedge to know that Len has found acceptance after Silent's voice in Proof of Life, because it recontextualizes the droning piano melody from the first two songs in this wild burst of emotionality. Shintaro and Takane are two people that have a frenemies, tsundere-ass relationship, so it's a good way of showing how close they are without having them say anything, because that would just be out of character. Well, why not have Shintaro adopt some of Takane's melody from Jinzo Enemy into Lost Time Memory? This one gets me particularly depressed because he sings her melody during Route XX, which illustrates how both of them were feeling the same things all along through the worst parts of their life, and yet they still couldn't reach out to one another. Basically, as a storyteller, if you're going to write a song as opposed to writing a poem or a book or whatever else, there should probably be a reason for that. Music, more than prose, is a great way of developing character and professing emotion in a short amount of time and with nuance. Sure, not everything is. Master of the Heavenly Yard's screaming rebirthday at the end of the song to chant forgiveness to the world isn't exactly subtle, though it is very emotional. That said, The Little Trick with Shintaro and Takane is far more effective in this critic's honest opinion than simply having narration describing how similar Shintaro and Takane are, because it has that nuance and subtlety. Basically, if you're a song, you may as well use all the good song parts to tell a story. Mothy's honestly best at this. I could have made this entire video about the Abelius Chronicles, and maybe someday I will. But anyway, I hope you all had fun, and maybe you learned something. I'm gonna go cry and listen to 1000 Year Viking Lied again. Bye-bye.